A lot of women think once I figure everything out, then I'm going to find peace. But peace doesn't come from having all of those answers. Spoiler, I know, but it comes from walking with God through all of the uncertainty. In Proverbs 3, verse 5-6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. We want to understand it all, but that's not the goal. Notice it doesn't say understand everything first and then trust. No, it says trust first. So even when it doesn't make sense, we have to just reverse our natural way of thinking and trust the process, even when we're in the middle of that mess. That's God's way of doing it. If you're tired of living in survival mode and questioning your worth and faith after divorce and want simple steps to heal, drop that shame and guilt, and rebuild your confidence, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Lori Ann, certified Christian life coach and midlife divorce mom of 2. I learned the secret of how to heal after divorce and rebuild my life through faith-based strategies that changed everything. And if you're ready to remember who you truly are, rediscover your purpose in midlife, love well again, and care for your body and soul, welcome to the club. You're in the right room. Hello, and welcome back to the Midlife Comeback Club. Okay, so let's just say it out loud, girls, shall we? Starting after divorce in your 40s was not exactly your vision board, right? Or your 50s or your 60s. Like at this point in life, you thought you would be settled, probably, really secure, and building on what you already had. You probably didn't see this coming. You didn't see yourself rebuilding from scratch, right? So if you've been sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, where do I even begin? This episode is for you. And if you want support walking through this step by step, that's exactly why I created the Midlife Comeback Club annual group coaching membership of mine. That helps you rebuild your life with confidence, with clarity, and faith-based strategies to truly heal and move forward into your next best life. So definitely check that out in the show notes. We have a community of amazing women who are walking the same path as you. We have weekly live group Q&A calls every week with me, Lori Ann, your certified Christian life coach. And we would love to have you join us. All right, so let's get into what we're talking about today. Here's the problem with starting over. No one actually tells you how to do this, right? They say things like, it's a fresh start. Just look at it that way. Or everything happens for a reason. You'll figure it all out as time goes on. Cool. Super helpful, right? But meanwhile, you're sitting there like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like your identity has been completely crushed. You're trying to pick up the pieces and figure out really who you are. And you're thinking, I don't even trust my own decisions because you've made some not so great decisions maybe in the past or that didn't work out so well. So you start questioning every little decision you make. And when we're in midlife, the biggest thing is we feel, oh, wow, like I feel so behind in my life right now. Like there were so many things I wanted to accomplish by now that I thought where my life was going to be is so much different than where it actually is. You never dreamed of having to start all of this over in midlife, right? I know I didn't. But underneath all of that, there is fear. It's that fear of getting it wrong again or wasting more time, another decade, more years, and not knowing what's next. But let me say this really clearly so that you hear me, because this is the key I think a lot of midlife women forget. You're not starting from nothing. This is the gift. You're starting from experience and all of the wisdom that you've gained from all of the years that you have lived. And that is so valuable. I heard someone the other day, they were talking about how when you're in perimenopause and the reason we have like this brain fog is because our neural pathways are rewiring us as women in trying to make us into these amazing, wise women who are going to be leading the next upcoming generations from all of the wisdom we have from our own lived experience of life that these younger generations do not have. And so when we're struggling thinking, why can't I remember that word? Or why can't I think of this thing? Like I used to be able to, pull those words out of my head, no problem. But now I'm having a hard time. Or you forget to do the mundane tasks that you've done every day of your life for a very long time. But your brain is rewiring now into this whole new season. And it's really beautiful. It's this beautiful season of, yes, you're in a season of starting over maybe now after divorce and starting what you feel like is from scratch, but you don't realize you have so many years of lived experience to pass on to other women and to the younger generations of what you would do differently or what you wouldn't do differently. And all of these things that are happening to us kind of make us feel like we're going into this state of really blurry confusion, right? In your 40s and your 50s and your 60s even. And it becomes this thing where we think we're losing ourselves. But really what I like to think of this stage as is you're finding yourself. I think I didn't really find myself until my late 40s. That was a season of me really exploring who I really was. And that makes all the difference when you look at this season from a different lens. I think it's so important as women who are walking through divorce and have just walked out of something so traumatic as divorce to really start seeing your life and all of this confusion and worry and fear you might be having as really this opportunity to really find yourself again. Because I remember that season where I felt exactly like this. Like I was standing at the beginning, of something I didn't really ask for, trying to figure out, okay, who am I now? What do I even want at this stage of my life? I wasn't really sure, to be honest. What's my next step going to be? No clue. That was me. And everything felt so overwhelming. I remember that. Even, the small little decisions felt huge. Like I'd sit there overthinking things. Like I remember someone asked me, well, Lorianne, what's your favorite meal? And if I was being honest with myself, I had absolutely no earthly idea what my favorite meal was. I had spent so much time taking care of my children and my family and my ex that I never stopped to think like, what food do I actually like? It was always just a rushed decision of whatever was in the refrigerator or, whatever we could grab out at different times. I never truly sat down to think about what do I really enjoy eating for a meal versus some other meal. But because when your life shifts that drastically, it really shakes your confidence too. And you really start thinking, I don't want to answer that because what if I mess this up too? What if I pick a meal that's really not my favorite meal? Or what if I make this other decision that I thought I knew what I was doing before, but maybe I really don't? And we start questioning all of these things and you're lost in this sea of like, I don't even know where to begin. So I just want to go through some really 5 clear short steps to help you if you are in this really messy season right now. Number 1, I want you to start with where you are, not where you think you should be. That's a big one, right? Because a lot of women who are mentally stuck in this, I should be further along by now. I should have figured this all out by now. But that thinking is going to keep you stuck in that shame and that guilt and no self-confidence. Instead of, moving forward with the truth and what God says. Remember Isaiah 43, verse 18 to 19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. God isn't asking you to go back. He's asking you to move forward from where you are now. So don't worry about where do I think I should be, okay? That's not what we're trying to do here. Number 2, stop trying to figure out your whole life, especially if you're in this season right now. Just focus on your next step. your next tiny step. If you need to do a really minute mustard seed of faith kind of step, okay? You don't need the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan right now, okay? I'm a big visionary. And for the last several years, I have been creating my vision boards. And every year I put my pictures up, I put my scripture up, I put my quotes up, I put all the things that I want to happen in that year. And every year at the beginning of the year, I look at the board once I've completed it, usually before Christmas, and I think, how in the world are you going to make this happen, God? and and every year around December or November, at the end of the year, I look at the board again and I realize, oh my goodness, God came through once again. And all of those things that I put on the vision board are either real and practical things that I currently do have, or he incorporated into my life somehow in a different way, whether that was peace or it was financial freedom or it was rest, all of these things that I never thought were possible at the beginning of the year. I can look back and say, wow, God did it again. But every year, I always have that small doubt that, oh goodness, how is he going to make all this happen? Because some years have been pretty huge for me, like as far as the visions I've had. And I thought, this might take, more than a year, God. And I get that, but I'm still going to put it up there. And then he will come through on the back end every time. He has not let me down. So my point is, right now where you are in this season, you don't need to be thinking about 10 years from now or 5 years or even a year from now. I want you to focus on just the next little step, because those things we can map out further as we go. But right now, if you have just landed in this no man's land of after divorce and you're thinking, wow, how did I even get here? Where do I even begin? I just want you to concentrate on taking the next right step, because it's really hard to see, I think, the forest for the trees right now. You might just be looking down at the ground thinking, I'm in the middle of this strange forest. I am completely lost, Lorianne. And right now I can't even, find like a stick on the ground to start a fire that I need to cook something to eat tonight for my kids. Now, because I remember that's kind of where I was for a long, long time. As you know, lost in the wilderness, trying to figure out, how am I going to feed my kids? So you just need the next right step. That's it. I'm not saying not to create your vision board. Yes, go ahead and do that. But also give yourself the grace to just be taking like the next little step. Because the reason I think that all of my visions come to pass by the end of the year is not because of these huge steps I've taken. It's because of the small little steps I took throughout the year and the consistency and the discipline of doing so. And the bigger visions come to pass based on that, not on taking these humongous leaps of faith all the time throughout the year to make that happen. So I just want you to keep that in mind, because your clarity is really going to come from the movement. We gain clarity from taking small steps of action. So if we just sit there and we don't take any kind of a step, even if it's tiny, we're not going to get any clarity. We're just going to, stay where we are. So we want to shift this. So instead of saying, what am I doing with my life in this moment? I want you to ask, what is just that one step that I can take this week? Okay. Number 3, rebuild trust with yourself. This is everything. Because after divorce, a lot of women don't trust themselves anymore, right? Like we talked about before, you're second guessing your decisions, your instincts, that gut instinct that we pride ourselves on as women, right? You question your judgment. I didn't have great judgment before. How am I going to have good judgment for my future? But that confidence is not something that you wait for. It's something that you have to rebuild through action and being accountable to yourself. And this is where I think a lot of women get lost, because that's how I did it. I made small little promises to myself every day inside whatever capacity I had at that particular stage. And at first that might have looked like, I'm going to spend 90 minutes every day working on my side hustle that I wanted to build while I had my 9 to 5. It could be 30 minutes in the morning and an hour after the kids went to bed at night. But I would try to get in those 90 minutes every single day. And the more I did that, more days than I didn't do it, I started to build confidence that I could actually be accountable to myself and I would do what I say I was going to do. So that's what creates self-confidence. It's those little small decisions, a small follow through, like the little small wins. That's how your trust comes back. And number 4, let God meet you in the process, not just the outcome. A lot of women think, once I figure everything out, then I'm going to find peace. But peace doesn't come from having all of those answers. Spoiler, I know, but it comes from walking with God through all of the uncertainty. In Proverbs 3, verse 5-6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. We want to understand it all, but that's not the goal. Notice it doesn't say understand everything first and then trust. No, it says trust first. So even when it doesn't make sense, we have to just reverse our natural way of thinking and trust the process, even when we're in the middle of that mess. That's God's way of doing it. And number 5, you don't have to have it all together to move forward. That's the good news, right? So let's just clear this up. You don't need to feel ready, like I'm ready for this next chapter. You don't have to feel the confidence that you think you need right now. And you don't have to have it all figured out. Such a relief, right? I know it was for me. Just to take a step, you can be scared. You can be unsure. You can be emotional about all of it, and you can still move forward with fear. And that's what they call courage, right? That's what courage actually looks like. If we talk about Abraham, for example, for a second, Genesis 12:1, God tells Abraham, right? What does he say? He says, go from your country to the land I will show you. And here's what's, I think, so wild about that. You know, God did not give him this full roadmap, right? A step-by-step plan or this detailed timeline. No, it wasn't like he had this treasure map all laid out. And like, if you follow these things, I'm going to lead you to the treasure. He just said, go. That's it. And Abraham went without knowing where exactly he was going, how it would all work out. He just took that next little step of faith. And look what happened to Abraham, right? And I think a lot of us are just waiting for, full clarity. We want full confidence. We want to say, yes, I will go forward, God, but, I just want to be certain that I'm taking the next right step. All of these things we want before we actually move, but that's not how it works. I hate to break it to you. And it took me a long time to figure that out. Because I think God knew if we knew how close we were really to our dream life, we would actually, I think, be more scared than you might even be right now. Because the thought of knowing that your dream life might be waiting just around that next corner, that's a little scary, right? Like, wow, it could actually happen sooner than I think. And a lot of times it does. I know that happened for me. I thought, my dream life was decades away, and it wasn't. God was just waiting for me to take the next step. So when you move, clarity comes with it. I've found this in all of my businesses that I've had over the years. I might start a business based on what I think is a pain point, right? Or a need. And then I find out by talking to a lot of women that there is even greater common theme and pain point that they all have that I could really help them with in another way. And then I pivot to what God is asking me to do at that time and place. But it comes from me taking that forward motion and action and those faithful steps that I'm uncertain where they're going to lead. And I'm not scared to get it wrong. because there have been plenty of times I've gotten it wrong. And I'm not scared to mess up because I know that God will redirect me back to the path where he wants me. And that's kind of our job, is just take the best judgment and take our best instincts that we feel God is speaking to us about, and we go forward and decide, okay, I'm going to take this step, Lord, but I'm trusting that you will redirect my path if I'm going the wrong direction. So if you've been sitting there thinking, I don't even know where to start, Lori, I don't even know where to begin, I want you to start this week with one small step, one small decision, and one small move forward. That's it. I just want you to start there. But if you really want deeper guidance and support and a clear framework and path through this season, inside the Midlife Comeback Club group annual coaching membership that I have, that's exactly what we do. We help you rebuild your confidence, reconnect with your identity, and actually move forward with clarity and with the faith that God has designed for you. So if you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start creating your own comeback, please come join us. We have weekly live group Q&A calls every single week with me, your certified Christian life coach. We also have an amazing course that I created called Crush Your Divine Comeback Girl inside of the group that you get free of charge. It's inside the annual group coaching membership. And I've seen so many women's lives transformed by this program. They have started businesses they never thought were possible. They have gotten into relationships that are beyond their wildest dreams. They have found their best friends in life when they never thought they could have that again. They have reclaimed, friendships that they never thought were possible, and surrounding themselves with an amazing community of these women who are walking the same path as they are. And that's just the gold inside the group. So I would love for you to come join us. And we also have my free Facebook group over at bit.ly link. It's bit.ly/healing after midlife divorce. You can join over there on Facebook, jump in. I teach what I teach here on the podcast, as well as some awesome other amazing things that we do inside our Facebook group. So if you would like to, please join us over there. And if you do want to become a Midlife Comeback Club insider, where you can jump on my email list, you can go to loriannfeely.com/insider. It's LORIANNF as in Frank, EELEY.com/insider. And you'll get my weekly emails with new podcast episodes, real life insights, all the faith-based strategies that I teach to rebuild confidence after divorce, and let you know how you can begin your journey, practical mind shifts that will help you stop, overthinking everything and start moving forward. Definitely early access to my programs, my coaching, and special offers, will all be delivered straight to your inbox. Let me leave you with this today. You are not behind. You are actually being rebuilt. And this next chapter that you're walking into is not the end of your story. It's actually the beginning of something beyond your wildest imagination, and it's going to be amazing. So thank you for listening. Every week I drop new episodes on Mondays and Thursdays. Remember these things this week, okay? By taking one small step, one small new decision that you can make so that you can move forward into the best life that God has waiting for you. And if I don't see you over in our Midlife Comeback Club annual group coaching membership before next time, I will definitely see you back here for the next episode. Thanks so much for listening. Hey girl, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a woman who might really need it right now? Also, please leave me a quick review over on Apple Podcasts. It truly helps this show reach more women who are ready for their divine comeback. And until next time, keep choosing faith over fear, and I will meet you back here next week for another episode.